Hey, Cassandra, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Would you mind just introducing yourself real quick to those listening?
Yeah, so my name is Cassandra Thompson. I am a speaker, coach, trainer, and founder of One Hello Consulting. We help smart, ambitious individual professionals and teams learn how to build authentic relationships for professional success. So, i.e., networking without feeling gross about it. And that includes how to network in person, but also online. And if you're going to network online, I think the best place to do that is LinkedIn.
I would tend to agree with you, but I was not always the biggest fan of LinkedIn. But we're going to talk about LinkedIn strategies you can use depending on the context. But so for one thing, how did you become so passionate about using LinkedIn and about networking overall? Like, where did you find that this was kind of your thing?
Yes. So two different things. One, networking overall, I am very happy that I learned when I was in college that networking is really relationship building. A woman came into my mass media class. She essentially shared her career story, and that included keeping in touch with this high level executive over time. And that was where I learned, like, I had that aha moment of, oh, it's not grabbing business cards and asking people for favors and, using people. It's building a relationship and cool things come from that. So that's where I learned it. Doesn't mean I understood how to do it right away, but that's where I learned it. And really had that reframe that I want to help other people learn. And then LinkedIn became a passion because I was very familiar with LinkedIn as a career coach. I was a career coach at a university for 5 years. And in that time, right, we teach students how to use LinkedIn, talking about job searching on LinkedIn. And as I started my, at the time, side hustle, I was meeting all these creative business owners that were not on LinkedIn. And it blew my mind because people just don't know the reach. They didn't understand the massive reach LinkedIn had and still has compared to other platforms. And so I joke, like, it became a side hustle to a side hustle, that I started coaching my business owner friends on how to use LinkedIn for their businesses because they truly had not touched it. Or the thing I hear a lot is, oh, I made it for college and I haven't touched it since. So started working with people that way.
Yeah, I think, at least for me, I made it in college because it was like when it first came out, it was super basic, like not the
Oh yeah.
crazy bells and whistles it has now.
No.
And then we used it in our career path. It was our chance to like friend our coworkers. And it was
Yeah.
weird, but it was like this awkward, I don't really know how to use this. I wasn't
Yeah.
posting content. I wasn't creating anything. It was kind of like a virtual resume and a virtual resume with, strings attached to each other because you all worked at the same company. It's a way to like look for people in certain positions.
Right.
And quite frankly, in public accounting, it was a way for recruiters to find us.
Yeah.
That was like how we viewed it, right? And that was the
Yeah.
biggest thing, was headhunters were on there. Let's talk about some of the negative associations people have on LinkedIn. And I mean, obviously some, if not all, are validated to some extent, but how we
Yeah.
overcome those types of cons with LinkedIn. What are the biggest complaints you hear?
The number one complaint I hear is I hate all the spam. I get so much spam messaging
Amen.
or cold pitches, sales pitches, etc. And it's totally valid. It is annoying. I there's no solution to it other than to say get over it. If you're going to let that stop you from being on the platform that's the wealthiest social media platform, it's the one that the most decision makers are going to be on. Like, you're going to say, "Oh, I won't do that because I can't ignore this inbox." That's on you at that point. I'm a straight shooter, sorry. I'm just like, at that point I go like, you're then I that's your issue that you're going to have to deal with. But to me, it's that spammy messaging. This is, I guess, another way I would say it is that spammy messaging is a very small percentage of how amazing LinkedIn can be. And if you can ignore that part, there is such a wealth of opportunity there that I think it's really valuable to just set it aside. But this is also where I have to say, I am not an inbox zero girl. My people get stressed when they see the notification numbers on my phone. My email is over 120,000 unread. Like, so I can just very easily ignore it. If you can't figure out a system to inbox zero that every day, but you need to get past that part.
Yeah, I agree. It's so I'm the inbox zero person.
Okay.
And it drives me nuts because I get like 10 a day of like, do you want to outsource your accounting to us? Or do you like, are you hiring? And so I know I'm getting them, but what I've done is I have a canned response. So I just have this like copy paste response, copy paste response. So if I must do it, I'm not taking a ton of time. There are some where I will literally reply politely and say, hi, I appreciate your effort, but like we're not really hiring and we don't outsource. I try to respond with kindness because I know that at any point someone could snap and like a real person could be behind this snapping and like saying Shannon's a, you know what, but getting dozens a day, it's really hard to not be like, ugh. And we do read them. Like I read them because I do genuinely connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn, and it's really hard to discern what is spam and what isn't. If someone's genuinely reaching out to you, I don't want to lose an opportunity to connect. So I would rather get the messages and find a system to filter them or to make it easier to respond. So I agree.
Yeah, no, and I love that you do that. I know most people don't. I do think like you should read through them. I think now, or I shouldn't say I think, I know LinkedIn now has an other folder that is at least helping get a lot of those sales navigator spammy messages. And when I say spammy, I think I mean more of the like, it's very clear they're trying to sell me on a franchise or on something completely unreal, or like social media marketing that I'm not interested in, things like that. That you might not want to respond back to everyone because you can tell you were just part of a bulk campaign too. But I love that you are responding to people, because my other tip on this is similar to what you're doing. If it is somebody that you don't know, but that first message looks genuine and maybe it's a connection request, connect with them. What's the harm? Then see, is the first thing they do send you a sales pitch, right? Or say, let's get on a call so I can talk to you about this offer. Okay, now all we have to do is click a button that says, disconnect. Like it takes 10 seconds, but you don't want to miss great opportunities.
Right. I agree. And I toggle between that. So I'm hearing your approach is when in doubt, hit connect. I think that people do have a degree of like, people are like this with Facebook now too, where there's a degree of like, I don't know the person, so I'm not comfortable connecting with them on social media. I'm not comfortable friending them if I've never literally met them. What's your take on people who are hesitant to connect with folks out the gate?
So I totally understand it for Facebook. I am huge on, like, I don't connect with you on Facebook if we do not have people in common. On LinkedIn, I say connect with, you have to find your own boundaries for where you feel comfortable, but I would suggest making your boundary more than just people I know, simply because LinkedIn is all about degrees of separation and you don't know who they know. So to me, as long as somebody sends a message with it, explaining why they want to connect, and that message doesn't sound spammy or salesy out the gate, as long as they send that message and or I can look at their profile and see what we genuinely have in common, I'll connect with them. And then they can prove me wrong for connecting. You know what I mean? Like then we'll see what messages they send. We'll see what they do after that. But because I think this is what I found over the last couple of years is people don't know LinkedIn is designated as degrees of separation. People don't know that number next to your name is the degree of, or the number next to the person you're looking at. That's the degrees of separation. So if there's a second, it means we have one person in between us. And that's what LinkedIn was based on, but we've gone so far from that, people forget it. And so the more people you're connected to, the greater your reach. So especially as business owners, don't you want a bigger reach? So we shouldn't
Exactly.
be selective of who we're connecting with.
I agree. But you also mentioned too that the first thing you're going to look at is the profile to see
Yes.
if it's genuine, see if you want to accept the connect. So if we spin it back to you're trying to connect with someone who maybe is a possible business contact, a possible mentor, just a colleague, a friend, whatever, that's doing the same thing you are, whatever reason you have to connect with somebody, let's talk about the importance of having a really good profile and what that means. Just take that and run with it.
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why I love LinkedIn. And don't get me wrong, folks, like I love Instagram, I love DMing, whatever. But on Instagram, you get a line and a half of your profile and some links. LinkedIn is essentially your resume and a landing page rolled into one, and it's all SEO friendly. So key things starting out are you want a great picture. You want a great profile picture. You want it pretty tight in on your head only. You don't want like a third body and head. You want something where you don't blend into the background because people want to recognize you. Another interesting fact with that is you want to be straight on. So no profile photos it's a profile photo, but no profile of your face photos right to the side.
Yeah.
Or to an angle or looking off to the side. You want to be smiling and looking at the camera. We need to give those signals of warmth and friendliness, right? So that profile photo matters. And then the next thing that matters a lot that I would encourage everyone to go look at immediately is your headline. Your headline is that line that goes with your name and your profile photo. So your headline shows up basically everywhere. If you're on LinkedIn and you're looking at a profile, to the right, it'll say other people also looked at, and what do we see? We see their picture, their name, and their headline. So that headline defaults to either your school or your company name, right? Your title at company. You want to go in and change that if you haven't already. And the key on this is it needs to be SEO friendly and don't be cute. Okay. Please don't put a quote. Please don't give business owners love to give ourselves crazy fun titles like I'm the chief officer of fun. No, you're an event planner. Okay. Nobody's searching for the chief officer of fun. They're searching for an event planner. And so you really want to think through clarity on it and what words people will be searching for. So an obvious one that people use a lot is I help blank, right? Who you serve with blank. That's a great place to start. But then you can go from there of what are the words I want to be known for? What are the skills I have? Depending on how many, use every character count on there you can, but depending on space, you might use, that space for, what do I want to say? Like, either the word is not coming to me, like a qualifier. So like host of the podcast, right? Or, I've had
It's like an authority builder.
Authority build. That's the word I'm looking for. Wow, sorry. It's 8 a.m. here and it's Friday and I'm just a little behind right now.
No,
sorry.
You're fine.
Authority
like a credibility statement or
yes.
authority.
So
yeah.
Somebody one of my clients I'm working with, she's written a book. And so she had the whole book title in there. She had it at the beginning and I went, we need to just put best-selling author. Your book can be shown in your banner. It can be other places, but she also was a founder at a major company. And so I said, yeah, put founder of as your last one. It's not the first thing, but we want that credibility builder in there. So that's key things are photo, headline, and then next up would be, there's a featured section. This is a newer feature to LinkedIn. And by newer, I mean in like the last couple of years. You can add links out to things now. So there should be a link to your lead magnet. There should be a link to your offer, to your podcast or YouTube channel or whatever it is where else people build relationships with you. You can put all of those things in that featured section. So think of it as just like your homepage on your website, linking to the other pages of your website. LinkedIn does that for you if you use it correctly.
It's so cool. Yeah, guys, I'm actually pulling up my profile as she's talking, and I'm just like, do I have all this right? Like, do I have? I'm like auditing myself as you're talking, and I'm like, okay, yep. So like, I use the headline for virtual CFO, podcaster, speaker, because I want people to know that's what I do. That's what you can come here for, and that's what you're going to find out about me if you want to go a little bit deeper. But there's definitely a lot of history in there, right? Because then people can see your experience if they want to go deeper on that. They can see your education. They can see licenses, certifications, skills. But let's talk about so I would say the most important thing is whatever shows up in the window that people click your profile, right? It's whatever shows up first, and that's the headline. And the featured is cool. Here's what I just learned about LinkedIn recently, because I've really gotten into it, is there's featured media. You can put a video. Even if you don't have a YouTube channel, you might have a video that you recorded, a really good reel that did well, a really good piece of content. You could just post that as a featured, and it's a great taste of you could basically pull the best from the best of your other social media profiles and put it here for people to actually consume, not to mention have them bounce over to the other profiles as well if your primary social media is another platform.
Yes. And even like you said, it could be a guest spot on something else. So I was on LinkedIn has their own live talk show. I think they've now moved to a podcast of it halfway through the year, but I was on their LinkedIn live career talks with their editor-in-chief over careers. And so, I've taken the link to that section and it is in my top posts on featured. It's one of those that you can click out and go watch that conversation.
Yeah, it's super cool. And that's really powerful too, especially let's just say you guys, if you want to be a guest on a podcast, that's key because you can basically visually show. It could be maybe you work like what Cassandra does. If you work in something that involves marketing, or let's say you work in social media, examples of our work, portfolio. For me, it could be a video of me teaching something about a profit and loss statement. It could literally be created for that purpose. It doesn't matter. But if you can showcase what you do, it's even better. It's like a visual resume to say, this is what I actually produce, and it will just build even more credibility. You agree?
Completely agree. And that's it. That's why I love that section. You can play with it. I think you should definitely have something leading to your website or leading to where they get to buy from you in some way, right? We don't want to make that process hard for anyone. But yes, a lot of people are on LinkedIn because they want to be found for speaking or they want to be found for podcast guest spots. So things like that. So one of mine is my speaker reel, I think is my second one on there because that's what I want people to see. But if you're a graphic designer, why aren't you sending me to your portfolio or walk me through? You can get really creative and go, here's my process and make a video on how you walk people through it and put that there. If you want to have you can have fun with this. You could have something that's the secret LinkedIn only freebie I give, and it's only if they clicked on that button. You could Easter egg yourself on this if you wanted.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I actually think if you're first starting a business and you're going to invest in a website, guys, this shit's free.
Yep.
This shit's free. You could just you could build a really kick-ass LinkedIn profile and share that as a simple landing page because you can manipulate this to really highlight the key things that you want to and actually have it flow very similarly to a landing page. I think you can actually change sections. You can add sections, you can move them. Yes, it is very professional. And I think that's a stigma that we're currently overcoming. But I think a lot more entrepreneurs are going to start using this. It's just a really powerful networking tool I found, especially when you share thought leadership and people start conversations. We're going to get into that, though, in the next episode. I want to talk about strategies. But as we wrap up this kind of focus on profile, Cassandra, what are 2 or 3 mistakes, core mistakes that people are making with their profile that are prohibiting them from really taking advantage of the platform?
Yeah. So core mistakes on profile, not thinking through that headline is number one. Number 2 is in your about section, it needs to be written first person. So your about section is your letter introducing yourself to me. A lot of business owners make it about their company and they write it third person. And so make that more conversational, like you and I are talking and you're telling me who you are. Now, I will say this changes per industry. So a great hack on this is search other people in your industry and see how the tone they're writing their about with, right? Mine is very conversational. Shannon, because of what you do, yours might need a little bit more of a professional bent in the finance industry. And it's probably going to have your licensing numbers in it or certificates in it. Even though that can be found lower, you want that up there, right? Because I know that because if I've looked at finance people before and they all put that in there and I go, this makes sense. I used to work at Riot Games back in the day. It's a gaming tech company. It's very casual. So there, people use gamer language. They'll put in TLDR and AFK and they'll joke around more because that's natural to their industry, right? So definitely go with industry culture within your about, but it should be first person. And then the other thing that business owners in particular make a mistake of is they make their, in your experience section, right? You're probably going to have founder or owner or CEO of and your company. And then in that section, you can talk about what you do. Well, instead of talking about what you do, business owners tend to say, this company is, and they like talk about, or it would be, if it were mine, it would say, One Hello is a company that helps, blah, 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 blah. Well, no. I'm not on the company page. What do you do in your business? So make sure that section is talking about what you do. You can have a totally separate company page set up on LinkedIn for free. It takes 5 minutes to set up. That's where you talk about what the company does. So another thing with that is no one's searching for founder. Okay. No one's searching for CEO. So even though here I will say I'm a founder and it is a title in my company experience section, I also have the title speaker. And in my headline, I don't have the title. I don't think I have it in my headline. Founder. If I do, I have to go change that. But because no one's searching for that. So be thinking through the words that people are going to be looking for and they're going to connect to. And then the last thing would be use that skills section. People ignore the skills section. Skills are super important for SEO. It's part of how you get found on the platform. So this is one of those activities that I say, like, grab your laptop and when you and the family are watching TV at night or all on your own computers in the same room or phones in the same room, just sit there and go through that skills section and exhaust all skill buckets, right? You get so many slots, use all of them, but put as many skills in there as possible to be feeding LinkedIn. This is who you should be putting me in front of. When people search for this term, I want to show up. So those are the key places I would focus.
Yeah, I think there's opportunities abound here. Really quick before we wrap up the profile thing, you mentioned the company page, and that was going to be my next question. Yay or nay, company page?
Yay to set it up. Nay to post on it most of the time, which we can talk about more probably in the next episode.
We'll talk about that.
I do want you to set it up, at least put in your logo, the about of who your company is, and then that will give you your logo now showing up next to your experience on your profile. So we want it there for credibility of like, we're a company, but LinkedIn is a person to person. It's still social networking. I want to talk to a person, not a company. So you're going to post from your personal.
Yep. Can I share one more yay on why I think it's an amazing idea?
Yeah.
To have a company page? Because when I had employees, they can now say they work for me. And now their network is like, where do you work? And they click on it. And now more people like the people I hired are finding me and actually asking if there are opportunities to work here.
Yes. As you could, if you have one employee, you want them being able to put that on there, and them too. Again, it's going to show credibility because they're probably going to find the person first. They're going to see, oh, there's a logo next to this person's name. It's dumb, but this is what our heads do. We go, this is a real company. And then they can click on it and see more about you. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a credibility builder as well as it's always a credibility builder, but I think it's also and acknowledges it's real. You're right, but it's also a way to say, hey, there are people I know that work there. Let me check it out because there's something in common now, or there's a familiarity here. So I think it's a great way to build it. Cassandra, I can't wait to dig into more strategies. We're going to talk on the next episode more so about how to use the platform. Now that we've set up the platform, we have a killer ass profile. Now we're going to go and figure out how to actually maximize the platform using these strategies. Stay tuned.